Okay, we are live. Except Heather, you don't have your camera on. Do you have
I
your
gotta,
camera on?
now I have my camera on.
Okay, all right, great.
Good.
So, welcome, Heather Holmes, and great to have you on the show. I'm sorry that our video sizes are really sort of kind of distorted. I'm having trouble playing with that thing. It's not working correctly at my end, so. I don't know if you can come closer, or make yourself a little larger on the camera. I'll try to also adjust my camera.
This is a brand new computer for me, so let's see. I don't know how to get
All
it
right,
larger, but maybe there's a way.
that's okay. This is not
I'm gonna be doing slides and stuff
desperate.
too. So,
Yeah, okay, so
is
how
there a
am
way to make it?
I doing on?
Well, anyway, video settings. Let's see if I do that. Do you know on Zoom if there's a way to like make it?
You just have to move closer to the computer. That's the simplest explanation that I have. Other than
Well,
that,
I'm as close as I can get it right now before it's on my lap. So let's see what
all
happens.
right. Well, don't worry about it. It is going to be what it is. I'm just saying, that for the purposes of what we're doing.
Oh, maybe view here. View gallery.
Oh, Jesus.
There we go. How's that? Can you see me now?
Not much difference, but it doesn't matter. Let's
Weird because I
start.
see us side by side. So change your view.
We are side by side, but it's just my head is much bigger than your head. And you try to get the heads more or less the same size.
Okay, okay. Let's see.
Otherwise, it looks a little weird, but don't worry about it. If you
Now
can't see
better? Are we better?
a little better, you're up
Okay,
higher in the frame, a little, so not so much empty space above your head.
okay,
Better. These are just, filmmaker kinds of things that I'm a filmmaker, so I think about. Anyway, other people made it, maybe don't care. So here we are. We are live, and let me make sure this is going. I don't know why that's starting up again, because that doesn't make sense. Okay. Okay, I guess I'm just gonna have to Rumble. Here we are. Yes, we are on Rumble. So I've got two of these things going on, I guess.
good. You got on Rumble. Okay. We're on Rumble. That's good.
Yeah, we are live on Rumble. So hi there, everyone. I am here with Heather Holmes. Lovely, very brilliant. I'm not even sure what to call you, but you have a product line, and I guess you've got some new things going on that you wanted to talk about. So that's why we're here today. So why don't you lead off and give
Okay.
yourself a short introduction? I've had too many computer problems to deal with anything today because I was gone, and seems like someone screwed around with my computer. Otherwise, something very weird is going on. Anyway, so
Weird
enough
things
of
are going
that.
on.
Uh,
Um,
Thank you. And so I'm giving you the floor. Go right ahead.
thank you. Um, so Carrie, I love you dearly, you know that. So I'm happy to be here and see you. And we'll see each other in a few weeks because we're both speaking at the same conference in New York, October 4th and 5th. So give a little plug for that today. And and I wanted to come back because I haven't talked to your people for a long time. And there have been a lot of things that have been going on. Obviously, we know everything politically and so forth, but that has an effect on everything. And one of the things that I do call myself is a healthpreneur because, I'm an entrepreneur, but in the health space, and the goal is to try to produce things for people that are going to benefit their health in the most positive way. Actually, people, pets, and the planet, my great love for that. And I don't go right into the products because we have to first understand what's going on and why there's even an issue in the first place. And what we're going to talk about today, just so you know, my background is 18 years in medical devices and equipment. I've worked with every level in the hospital, including the C-suite. I've worked in the OR, cath lab, everything. I've done things from stents to clot removal. I've seen inside the body, veins, arteries, organs. So when I talk about things, um, I'm looking always at a holistic approach, much like a functional or integrative practitioner would do, because my goal always is to get to the source of what the issue is and help fix it. So, one of the biggest things that's near and dear to me is wound care. We have a really big problem, um, and people are getting sicker all the way around, whether it's autoimmune disease or whether it is, an effect from the C shot and whatever it may be. It all has an impact on us, and we know the impact that the environment has had on us. And I always speak in terms of the first point of contact we have with germs, viruses, you name it, is on the outside of us. So there's been so much concentration on what goes on with the gut and so on and so forth, which is important, but we need to take a look at how our living environment is impacting us and impacts the things that happen to us. So, with that, I'd like to just kind of go through some slides and talk about this issue. And obviously, along the way, we can talk about, things or experiences that you may have had, because I think there's probably not one person watching that hasn't dealt with a pet or a loved one or a friend that hasn't had some sort of um, wound, a parent with a wound, an ulcer, a bed sore, a whatever, a non-healing something, which seems to be inherent today. The other thing that's happening is skin cancer is on the rise, and these surgical centers are popping up called um, Mohs centers, MOHS centers. I'm going to talk about that a little bit today, because with these Mohs centers, they went from doing 4 procedures today to almost 1 million procedures, and it's growing. So they do these skin procedures to remove cancer, melanoma, basal cells, and squamous cells, and they leave the healthy tissue there. So they have a very good success rate. But the way that they're telling people to care for these wounds afterwards is so incorrect. So I'm just going to debunk some things today. We're going to talk about what's going on, and strangely enough, the correlation between a wound and all the food recalls that you've probably seen for listeria and salmonella that happen on a daily basis. So I'm going to put those two together, and you could be like, what? Like, how are you going to do that? But they're both important topics, and I wanted to fit them both in today. So we'll talk about that too. So Carrie, do you have anything to add right now? Or can we?
No, I think you're doing well, and I'd like you to jump into all of it. I think anyone listening is already going to be, you know, ready to hear from you. So rather than ask a question at the beginning, I'm just going to let you roll, and then we'll get into the questions.
Okay, so what I need to do is I need to share my screen. So you're going to have to approve me to share.
Hmm. Double click to enter. I think you're already sharing. I think it's
Okay,
working.
great. Okay,
I have a thing where I always allow people to share, so I don't have to click anything, I don't think.
okay, okay, awesome. So wound care is a billion dollar industry. It's actually in the best interests of the hospitals, the home health, and nursing homes and such, to keep you in a state where your wound is not healing, because they get reimbursement. But the minute that they don't get reimbursement anymore, they want to kick you out of the system. And now you're left in many instances with these non-healing wounds, which isn't doing anybody good, and people are suffering for it. So let's see if I can get get me to the next page. Here we go. So this number of non-healing wounds is increasing, and a big contributor to that is all of the total knees and hips that are being done now. And in the baby boomer crowd, this is very prevalent. I'm sure you know somebody that has had a total knee or a total hip. I certainly do. And people are getting younger and younger. And I actually had a friend from college that went back into the hospital 6 times because he was infected. And there is a high rate of infection and wound in the wounds in these surgeries. I talked about the Mohs surgery. Um, and part of the issue is diabetics and obese people, which is a lot of the population. They have trouble healing because the body can't naturally heal the wound because they can't get blood to the capillary beds that need to start initiating the wound healing process. The other thing that's happening is there's very poor health coverage in a lot of our people. Um, the products that they actually use on the wounds are having the opposite effect that they should be having because they use things that kill all of the good bacteria, which just makes everything stronger. Um, the environment in which you live, and I touched on that in the beginning, which is that everything that you bring into your environment, everything that you exist in, the bacteria affect you, in you, on you, around you, um, first. They affect you in you or on you and around you first. So, when we try to do things, according to what has been done for years, these things aren't working anymore. And so we've got to really be thinking about something different. So I touched on that wound cascade, and it's really a race against time. And whether you're me, you, a child, whatever it is, the body goes through the same process all the time, which is you have to get your the blood flowing to your capillary beds that feeds it up. Macrophages, I talk about them as kind of our scavenger that goes through and cleans everything up and stops any type of infection or inflammation that could affect that wound. And then the ions charge. They charge up to start healing that wound from the inside. But what I mean by a race against time is you've got everything on the outside trying to float into that wound. And if it's a serious wound, you better work really fast because the bad bacteria will get in there very quickly. And what they end up doing is they form something that I talk about all the time, which is biofilm. And you know it as the plaque in your teeth, but it's also what infects wounds. So in that wound, you get this biofilm layer that all of the bad bacteria live in and start forming pathogens. They form Pseudomonas, they form Staph, they form MRSA, they form you name it, they form it in there. And so biofilm is actually the biggest reason that wounds do not heal. So if we're able to address that biofilm in that wound, and we're going to take a look at the wound in a minute, but if you've ever seen a wound that's pretty bad, it gets like that yellowy greenish gunk that comes out of it. And that is the bacteria trying to form biofilm and create infection in there. So it's like 1,000 sheets of plastic wrap. It's really hard to penetrate, it's hard to get rid of. And unfortunately, what they do is they just slap antibiotic ointment. They use wound vacs. They use all these things on these wounds to try to get them to heal. But the problem is they never get to the biofilm layer, which what happens is there's a matrix. It's like a web. And when I say it's 1,000 sheets of plastic wrap, it really is. It's a chain. And so what happens is you've got to get in there and literally break like a chain link fence with the biggest tool you possibly can to get in there and break that up so you can get a modality there to heal it. And then you've got to make sure you're using something to heal it that isn't killing all the good stuff and that's stopping it from reforming. So the antibacterial stuff that they're using is not working. It's just making everything worse. And if we look at wounds, I talked about, that gooey stuff here that forms in the wounds. And if you've ever had one, you know that it is. And recently, I fell, my flip-flop caught on my girlfriend's concrete. There was a lip there, and I had a gaping wound here. And I was at Walmart and they had tiki torches for $1.50, and one came down and sliced my shin and it was bleeding all over. And I'm just gonna say, thank God I had my products because um I would have been infected. I probably would have had to go to the doctor. I mean, these things were pretty bad. So Um, what I want to get into is some of our wound care studies that were done initially. And keep in mind when I show you these pictures, these are all wounds that the mainstream Western medicine tried to heal with ointments and wound vacs. And the wound vac, by the way, fits on the wound and it just kind of creates a suction area in there to try to close the wound. That's the purpose of it. And they're not fun and they take a long time. So this is Mrs. Casey. Now keep in mind this woman, she was 308 pounds. And that right off the bat is going to create difficulty in healing the wound because she's obese. But on top of it, she had hypertension, hypothyroidism. She was depressed. She had epilepsy, insomnia, you name it, she had it. But she still was functioning. And she had a sore here. So these, hopefully you guys can get through these. Are not so gross, but she had a sore open up on her breast and she was allergic to the tape. So day two, we're looking at that wound and we cleaned it with our stuff and sprayed our wound care stuff on it. Day three, uh, that had the treatment on it besides the wound cleaning. And as we get through day four, the results of that the doctor said is that basically they went out of town, but she reported that all of the wounds were healed within 10 days. That's pretty miraculous, especially in somebody who is heavy like that. But she apparently could get blood flow to that area once we took away the biofilm. Once we put something on there with the probiotics to be able to create an environment where the body could really take over and heal it without trying to fight against the environment. Wound number two, this person was full of lots of stuff, but they were only 130 pounds. So keep in mind, I think this is the one that chronically picked at her skin. She was a little woo-woo, and she would create these horrible scabs and wounds. You can see that's pretty deep there. Um, so they didn't put any dressings on her because she would have just pulled it off. And the reason she was picking and creating more wounds is because the wounds were so inflamed. And what they were using on these wounds didn't help her at all. But you can see day two, some of them are already starting to heal over here. And this one is closing up now. And you can see day three, they're pink, they're getting better. That's day seven. I know it doesn't look, but this, all the tissue around it is starting to heal, all of it. And that's what doctors look for, that pinky thing. So I'm going to keep scrolling, but by day 10, look at the big difference. And these are wounds that never healed. They couldn't do anything to get them to heal. That's day 10, day 12, and then day 13. And now we're at day 20. And she did not pick at herself at all. So there is an anti-inflammatory property to what we're doing with our products, which is so important because this person would never, ever, ever have healed. She would have continual wounds and she would not heal. So Baylor Medical Center, we have a very good um, geriatric doc there who was a wound care doc, and he did a bunch of studies for us. And if anybody knows what a colectomy is, that's my mom had one. Um, and they often get infected. So it's basically a colectomy means that they're taking out your rectum and your colon most of the time in that. So she was 2 hours away. And this is a problem where it says no home healthcare resources. We have a big problem in this country because these people that live in your rural areas have nowhere to go. And if they do have somewhere to go, it's hours away, and hospitals are shutting down all over the place. And, I wrote something on LinkedIn about this because we have to be able to take care of everybody. And this is near and dear to my heart. So at least if we can get these products out to people and they keep them in their medicine cabinet and they have them as a resource, they have a fighting chance. And especially if they're in a rural area. So as we're going along here, and this is what we recommend if it's a serious wound, is spraying it twice a day. And she was texting pictures, but this this wound. This is an incision that was not healing, was not closing. And you can see by day 13 that it's healed. It's almost on its way there. And I guarantee you, um, I didn't follow this patient, but I can tell you that there would be no scarring from that. And that's a huge thing with the change in wound care that we're talking about, is being able to have the body heal it faster because it doesn't have that impediment of the biofilm there, and then no scarring. So this is obviously you can read for yourself, a 47-year-old male. Um, and this is also a wound vac recipient. So they went as far as they could to try to close that wound. And this one was already completely closed after 7 days. This other one is a little more difficult and they couldn't close it anymore. So now we get to day 19, we get to
Okay,
day
now I'm
20.
sorry to interrupt you here, but I'm not sure because I have um, sort of some other images here that I also want to put on here so that people can see them, but also your products themselves. So I don't know if you're showing your product that you're
Yeah,
using.
it's going to get down there. Yep, we're almost there.
Okay,
So,
because yeah,
so
because people are going to wonder, you're saying they're healing, but that you're not saying the product.
yep, so we're going to get there.
Okay.
So, I talked about Mohs surgery earlier. This product works for Mohs. And just so you know, if you go to one of the Mohs centers, and you probably know somebody who has, and I'm going to show you what happens when you use our product on it. But what's amazing is that they're telling people to get Vaseline and Aquaphor. And that is the worst thing you can possibly do to an open wound. It should be malpractice, and I don't know why the doctors are doing that.
Wow.
So now we're going to go to our products. And by the way, they're safe enough. You could, if a child drank them, they would be fine. But we're introducing these for humans and pets. So there's actually a cleaner that you use to prep the wound, and then an actual treatment for that wound. And these are the products that were used on the studies that I was showing you. But I'm going to show you these because these are very recent. If you look to the left side, this is my senior VP of sales daughter. Her dog bit her in the face. So as a 13-year-old, you or 14-year-old, you can imagine you'd be a little concerned that you would have be marred for life. So what Jeff did, her father, is he sprayed the wound cleaner on this and then the wound treatment. He took her to the doctor. It took about an hour to get there, and the doctor said he had one of those little scopes on his eye, and he said, "What did you put on this?" And just like, am I in trouble? He's like, "No, I can see that it's already starting to heal. I don't have to stitch this." But what he did do, because there was a little flap, is he put some glue on it. And I said that was a big mistake for him to do because I knew that glue would act like an impediment to our stuff. So sure enough, what he had to do on day 3 is he had to open that part up. He had to like take the glue away so that she could start to heal. And you can see in day 6, day 9, there's just a little piece there. And then on day 14, she's blowing me a kiss because she had no scarring and nothing on her face. So that's pretty cool. My CFO's doctor has her 5-year-old and 7-year-old kids spraying themselves with our products, cleaning them, and then using them themselves because they do a lot of sports. They get a lot of cuts. And so she has them using them, and she said they're healing right up really fast. And kids will normally heal more quickly. Now, this is a 78-year-old man. Um, he had Mohs surgery. I told you that skin cancer surgery on his eyebrow, and this is an extremely common Mohs surgery. You can see what's starting to happen as he's using our products. And by day 6, he is looking really good. And then by day 10, and there were stitches in there and everything. And normally there would be scarring, and there was no scarring. So that about is the best thing I can show you on the human side. On the pet side, um, this was going to get too long, but I just want to say your pets, and my dog just passed June 19th, but I can tell you, I had these products ready for her should anything happen because, number one, if I go into a panic when my dog is cut or bleeding like this, the first thing I'm going to do is try to clean it up with something and then stick the pet, whether it's a dog or cat, into the car, get it to the vet, and it's I now $150 or more at the vet, and they're going to give you some antibiotic something to try to heal this dog. That is the wrong way to go. The beauty of the soil spore probiotics that we use is phenomenal because we're able to get the right probiotics there that can outcompete these pathogens and get rid of the biofilm and stop it from coming back. So it's like the catch-all, going to the source and offering something as an alternative to a Band-Aid like mercurochrome, or I don't even know if they have that anymore. Um, you know, Neosporin, any of that, because that still is possibly going to leave a scar, which this will not. Plus, it will protect you from infection. So I'm gonna do this really fast. There are only 4 slides and then I'm done. But what does this have to do with food recalls? And as I mentioned in the beginning, salmonella, there's a salmonella recall almost every day. It's affected cereals and fruits and veggies and same with listeria. And keep in mind that all of your fruits and veggies are porous. So they collect everything along the way, who's handling them in the trucks, whatever it may be, and rinsing them with water does not cut it. And we know for a fact, because we have a commercial cleaning side with product or commercial cleaning products as well, that if they used our products in the USDA food processing plants and sprayed the trucks down with our stuff, you would not have this showing up. We're 100% effective in all of our studies against Listeria and Salmonella. And that's why we have a fruit and veggie wash, because of the pathogen contamination and the food recalls. So we have a whole line of products for you guys. Let's see. Oh, no, I don't. Why is it doing that? I want it to go bigger. Okay, well, anyway, I don't know why that
Yeah,
just happened. Why did that just happen? That
I
was
don't
so
know.
weird.
Sometimes it goes the opposite way when you go too much one way or the other.
All right, let's see if I can
So,
get it back. So, anyway, we have a whole line of products and I'll go back to that slide. Um, Everything to cover you top to bottom with whatever you need. And that includes cleaning your counters because when you clean with our probiotics, they clean for a whole week. And when bacteria cleans, it excretes and it excretes natural biosurfactants. So it's constantly cleaning and they move around and they just multiply to the point where you just need them. That's it. And you mix it up fresh every week. We have a new clean air spray. This is all of our new packaging, by the way. We have a new spray just to get rid of mycotoxins in the air, and to get rid of dust mites and just odors and everything as an alternative to that rotten Febreze. Um, and then we have something for your washing machine. So you put it in your fabric softener dispenser and it actually takes the mold and mildew out of towels, clothes, cigarette smells, you name it. It takes all the detergent residue off. So you get really fluffy clothes and it takes them back to like their original fiber and texture. And then, of course, I mentioned the fruit and veggie cleaner, which is so important these days. We have a whole line of pet stuff, stuff that goes into the drinking water or food of your animals. An odor and itch spray, which is actually eliminates skunk odor. So you can spray it all over their coats. It keeps them clean in between washings. It helps with hot spots and inflammation. And then a very gentle shampoo, which rinses totally clean. It can take off coconut oil also. But it's very soothing to the skin. It gets to the microscopic level to really clean. And then we have body care stuff. We have mouthwash. Mouthwash has multiple uses. You can put it into your nebulizer to clean out your sinuses, which we always recommend for people that have serious sinus issues. You can diffuse it, use it as mouthwash, soak your mouth guards, retainers, put it on your toothbrush to keep it clean, and it truly does take plaque off the teeth. Skin spray for cuts, minor cuts and burns and rashes and eczema, psoriasis, um, jock itch, fungus, toe fungus, um, and for women, spraying in your underwear if you're prone to yeast infections or urinary tract infections, and you can use it as a deodorant as well. And then we have a body wash, which is baseline for your skin because it's 80% your um, your largest organ, really, is your skin. So you really need to protect it with probiotics and it'll coat it for 24 hours. And then we have our allergy asthma sinus spray, which I started the company because I was on antibiotics 6 times a year on that hamster wheel with bronchitis and I needed off. So that spray, we didn't have the mouthwash at the time that I started, but it's kept me off of antibiotics for the last, how long have I had the company now? 16 years. So I swear by that product too. And if you suffer from allergies or sinus, we help get people off of their allergy medication, their sinus medication, help people with asthma. So these are health products, even though we're a consumer products company here, but our wound care is our newest, and we're constantly coming out with new products to try to help you solve your everyday issues and
Right.
problems. So, what we have for you all, and I didn't put the codes on here. There's a landing page. If you all click on it, Carrie will put the link below the video. And that will tell you exactly about the what the codes are. And I'll just mention them here just so you have them. And they are the first one runs for 2 weeks, starting today through October 2nd. You get 20% off of your entire order and free shipping on orders of 100 plus. So now's the time to stock up. They make great gifts of health. We have 3-year dating on our products, so if you were to buy them for the holidays, that you can still do that. Um, and then beginning on October 2nd, we offer 10% still. And we run that through November 2nd. So, the codes are um the following. So you've got um Carrie in capitals, Kerry 20 dash 3 for 20% off for 2 weeks. And then you have Carrie, same thing, all capitals, Kerry 10 dash 3. So I hope that you'll leave your comments for us. I love feedback and everything. And Um, we really are in a situation where if we do not put good bacteria everywhere, we're going to keep going down the slippery slope, and autoimmune is going to increase. People are going to get sicker. Cancer actually starts with an imbalance of bacteria. So the more we can help and get the right probiotics, because the pills that you have lining the shelves don't do it. You have to have the soil spores. You have to fight, take a gun to a gunfight. And so that's what we're helping you do. And our products will do the work for you. All you have to do is use them and apply them, and they'll do what they need to do for you bacterially. So I'm done.
Okay, very good. Yeah, and so just want to say that I have used her products and they're excellent. And I just wanted to bring a one, I take this like stop sharing. So if you can click,
Yeah,
I don't know if I can just put up, but maybe it will
there we go.
automatically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to just share this one thing and ask you about it actually,
Okay.
because I use this on everything. I have very sensitive skin,
Yep.
so I use this Indian green. It's healing clay, and you can get it even on Amazon. It's totally organic, and it's gets all these 5 stars, whatever. But it's also in case you do get a wound. And anytime I've used it for everything under the sun, bee stings, poison oak, um, you know, bites of any kind of rashes, you name it. So just wanted to throw that by you. And do you have any clays that you
No,
uh,
I have a friend, Michelle, who's an animal intuitive, and she uses clay also. But I think what we're talking about today, Carrie, are people that, like, I wouldn't recommend putting the clay on a Mohs, someone who's come out of Mohs surgery, because what we need to do at that point is just protect the wound as quickly as possible so that the body starts to heal it. And I think that's what the difference is. I think that clay is excellent. But I think used in minor situations, I think it's
Okay,
fabulous. But when we're dealing with something a little more serious, a little
advanced. Yeah, I know.
advanced
The
or
pictures you're
deeper
showing
or
are very
whatever, and if
intense.
that thing's bleeding and bleeding, I mean, this will help it stop bleeding too. But, you want to get the good bacteria in there as quickly as possible. Um, what I think is you probably could use our product to get it to a certain point and then use the clay, but keep in mind, if you're using our stuff, there's no scarring. And when you're dealing with a wound that's where you've taken it from something that's very bad and the body has kicked in now, further applying our stuff does stop the scarring. So there is something to be said there too. So I wouldn't stop you from using that clay. I think
I've
in
never
minor
had anything,
situations, and yeah,
life-threatening or that kind of stuff that the pictures you're showing were very dire. So I'm not saying that I know what's right for that. I'm just saying, just in terms of smaller things, that I use that a lot and that it does work for me. It
that's
heals
great. That's perfect.
really well.
That's
So,
great.
but these are minor, more minor things,
Yeah,
obviously.
more minor stuff. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So when you wanted to come on the show, are we covering everything? Is there anything that we're leaving out? Because I've had you on my shows before and we talked about biofilm and various things. I think a lot of people are not well versed on probiotics, and then also the distinction between what you see in a store versus what you're actually using, and selling. So I know you put so much work into this and you're really excellent in this regard. So just wanted to make sure that you give the definition of the kind of probiotic you use, and then also, again, a little more description so people understand who don't know anything about this biofilm situation. How actually it's something of an epidemic on our planet right now because of all the horrible things that people use out there, right?
Yeah, it is. And, the biofilm, when we talk about the biofilm, 80% of all disease and infection is because of biofilm. So when we think about that, that's pretty serious, right? Because it's anything ranging, as I mentioned, the plaque on our teeth to sinus infections, pneumonia, myocarditis, endocarditis, infection in the heart, all of these orthopedic infections, um, infection in our bodies is because of biofilm. Um, our biofilm can go to the brain. It can be carried by the blood through the liver up into the brain. It's what causes small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, SIBO, leaky gut, um, you know, i- all of the gut issues for the most part, because when we talk about biofilm and you think about it as the plaque on your teeth, you can think of a moldy shower curtain has biofilm on it. Your cell phone right now probably has biofilm on it. And if you're not cleaning with our probiotics, chances are you've got some biofilm on your counter. But when we see moldy things, or we see fungus, or our washer smells, or our garbage smells, you can't have those odors without biofilm. So that's an indication that there's like bad bacteria there that is causing those odors. When you see toe fungus, when you see ringworm, when you see all of these things, and wrestlers get those a lot, right? Athletes get, you know, fungal issues. Um, Fungus lives in biofilm. Mold lives in biofilm. Virus live in biofilm. So it is like a hotel. So when they get there, they're like they're bad, but they're not so bad. But then inside your body, the bad bacteria grab your minerals, they grab your platelets, and they start to excrete what's called exopolysaccharides or sugar. So they're excreting this to try to build their matrix, a biofilm. And then what happens when they get in there, and I always use this example. So how do we get E. coli? Well, E. coli is formed from the imbalance of good and bad bacteria. So now we have the bad bacteria. They form this biofilm, this protective housing that feeds them, and nothing penetrates it. So they start to multiply and they multiply and they multiply. So E. coli living in a biofilm, you could stack it to the sun and back 100 trillion gazillion times in 24 hours. That's why we had the Chipotle outbreak. That's why we have the Listeria outbreak. That's why we have the Salmonella outbreaks, because it's literally whack-a-mole. And the problem is they keep trying to use disinfectants on a problem that is an imbalance of bacteria. So the only thing you can do as a solution is to take our bacillus-based spores and get them in there in the right combinations, which we've done in proprietary combinations. And they are, I'll emphasize again, they are spores. What you find in the pills in the supermarket or the drugstore are plant-based. Plant-based probiotics need sugar to stay alive and they are fragile. And those pills, once they processed everything through, you're really in a situation where there's not a lot of efficacy left in those pills. So the moral of the story is you always want live bacteria. Live. Even in yogurt, it's not live. You want live bacteria. So that's what we offer because part of our intellectual property is keeping these bacteria, these spore bacteria, sleeping in the bottle until they actually are activated to come alive, and that's with water. So it's very simple in as we talk about it, but there's a lot of technology behind it. And there are no GMOs, it's organic and natural and gluten-free and vegan and everything else and not chemical based. So, everything we have is safe enough, and that's always in the back of my mind. If a pet or a toddler came in contact with our products, would it harm them? And the answer is no. So that's how I sleep at night. But I don't know if I did it on your show, but um and I'll talk about it at the conference, but bioengineering of everything right now is a serious issue. And I am gravely concerned about it because it's so disguised and it's so much in our food right now that even the most natural thing you think you're eating, I can't even tell you, and that's a whole other podcast. But these things that are out there right now, um, they are seriously trying to genetically modify and bioengineer every single thing, including our genes, soil, fruits and vegetables, stevia, you name it. I just bought a cauliflower bowl from Aldi and I got it home and I was all excited and I was reading the directions to cook it. And I see in fine print, um, contains some bioengineered ingredients. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And I'm seeing it in everything. So please look at your packaging, look at just look at the fine print because even the breakfast scrambles that you may buy to stick in the microwave, they a lot of them are bioengineered. And the thing that really sent me over the edge, taco shells. El Paso and Ortega taco shells, bioengineered. So they use bioengineered corn in the
Um,
making of that. And what happens with the bioengineering is our body recognizes things that are natural that we put into it, right? And it will assimilate with them and accept them and it won't fight against you. You start putting bioengineered and genetically modified stuff into your body, your body's going to start fighting it. And you could get inflammation, a cytokine storm where your antibodies are attacking your body because it's foreign and you don't know what's going on. And that could be a cause of autoimmune. So, and even further on down the road, cancer. So, I mean, there are so many things that we have to be aware of, and I'm not trying to scare everybody. I'm just trying to educate everybody enough so that they're aware and can think about these things when they're out there.
Okay, great.
But we
Very
we have
good.
a huge problem because there's not enough good bacteria and we're just going down a slippery slope. And this has all been orchestrated for years going back to the EPA, just so you know.
Right. Okay. Now let me just look real quick and see if we have any questions in the chat. And there's actually
I hope so.
somebody who's talking about ASEA, which is a product
Oh,
that
I
I
know, Asia. Hmm.
make it available on my website. I use it, and so um, don't know if you have any thoughts about that, but the person put it in the thing. It's not really written as a question though.
Oh, well, do I answer it or not answer it?
Well, if you want to, I mean, I'm
I
not
don't,
going to badmouth a product. So if it's something there that you are concerned about, you could still mention it, on
I,
your own.
I, I
Yeah.
don't I don't personally use it and I'm not going to say anything against it. I know people that sell it. It's another multi-level marketing thing. We don't do multi-level marketing. I don't
Right.
believe in it for what we do, but I think people have had some good results with it. I think that there s- I'm not going to say anything except that I haven't used it.
Okay. All right. Well, they have a big explanation, and it's like I said, I have had a couple people who represent it on my show, and they're talking about the technology, whatever you want to call it, behind what they're producing. And so that's their choice. And
No, I mean, I'm not saying
I think
anything
it's pretty
against it. 'Cause
harmless, to be honest with you. And at least so far, I just use, it has this, it's sort of a skincare
yeah,
sort of system. So I use some of that, not only that, but just saying that I've had, you know, good results, I think.
that's
But,
awesome.
you know, whatever. So this
No,
person brought
I'm
it up in
glad.
the chat, so that's why we're talking about it.
Yeah,
But
I
anyway,
don't like to
um,
talk about stuff that I am not totally familiar with. Like I'm aware of it.
all
People have
right,
talked to me about it, but I haven't delved enough into their technology to say
okay,
one way or the other, and it's not fair for me to say anything because I haven't used it.
sure. Well, along those lines, do you have any skincare products at this time?
No, the only thing that we have obviously is our body wash, which I
Okay,
highly recommend having at every sink so that you're getting your hands coated with the probiotics. And your skin is getting coated with the probiotics before you go out into the world for the day.
all
Um,
right,
so that you have some
sounds good.
protection on there. And
Yeah,
then obviously we have the skin spray, which
okay,
is really important. And I talked about the different ways for that. I don't know if I'll go down the road of skincare. I think I might stay away from that. I think some of the products that are coming down the road is toothpaste. We'll do something with toothpaste. We'll do a mold eliminator, which people in very moist areas have a huge problem with. So we have
right,
some incredible mold products really great mold products, and those are coming down the pike for sure,
Okay.
rather than later. And of course, we'll be back to talk about those. But really at this point, we you can find us, soon in on the retail shelf. So we've got um some big ones that are taking some of our products. So we're in the process of that right now. So we're just trying to get them into as many places as possible. And the commitment that I made when I started this is I will always be accessible to people, because no matter how big we get, my goal is not to, and mark my words right now, not to sell out as many companies do, because this is
Right.
my baby. So it's just near and dear to my heart.
Okay, that's great. Now I'm going to let you go, but just in terms of good bacteria, I guess you would say probiotics are good bacteria. Is that the right
Yes.
statement? Okay, so I think that that's what we need on planet Earth, and we need as much probiotics, positive, good bacteria, so that what the bacteria does, it actually cleans and heals, right? It
Bingo.
does both of those things. So I think that that's worth sort of as an overall statement, maybe if you agree.
I think it's a great statement. And, you know, as I thought about the product line, and I'm a walking, talking billboard because I don't go anywhere without my stuff, and I use
Right.
it every day, everywhere. So it is um a product line that was designed as a lifestyle. So my intention is that you can start to replace things that you currently use with something that really is better, and going to the source of anything that you would need it to. The other thing about it is that, as it's been my experience over the past 16 years, that once you start using the products, you will start using other products. It just happens because they really do work. They really do amazing things. So, and keep in mind, again, these are not the bacteria that line the shelves in pills. They are not that. They're not what's in kombucha. They're not what's in kefir. They're not what's in yogurt. These are much stronger. And they out compete the pathogens, the things that you don't want that can make you really sick.
Okay,
Or
very
worse.
good. All
So
right.
that's that.
Thank you for being on my show.
Thank you
And
for having
you're
me.
going to be at the same conference I'm going to be at. So let me see if I can
Mhm.
grab that banner real quick because I actually do have it right here. Let's see, just put this banner on here for the conference that we're going to be speaking at, in case people are in the area, or, you can still travel in if you'd like. And I'm going to be putting a video on my Rumble that I just recorded yesterday, and we're going to put it up here and
Awesome.
with the woman who's organizing everything. And so there's quite a few great speakers that are going to be joining me over there. And that is very soon. It's like in 2 weeks' time, a little over two
Yeah.
weeks
Oh
is.
my gosh.
And Saturday the 4th and Sunday the 5th. So just wanted to give a plug for this conference, and that is also linked along with everything else on my Telegram, where I am talking about everything under the sun, and especially the Charlie Kirk situation. So people will know that we aren't ignoring that situation. I have a different take. I've done a ton of research, and I have a long history of involvement, as people who know my work may know, with the White Hats and how they operate. I believe it was, I don't know what you want to call it, a false flag, that he is still alive. And there's a reason for that, because he has been chosen and this information is out there, as the next presidential candidate after Trump, quite possibly. And so this is a man that they would be hell-bent to protect. So the evidence is that he did a similar thing to what JFK Jr. did, which is fake his death with the help of the military. And he had a stand-in. It wasn't him that was sitting down. It wasn't, he had a mask on and so on. So, and I believe that, and it goes on from there. So I don't want to sort of take too much time from this video, but I do want people to understand there are ways to look at the world that are completely different than maybe you've been taught or is in the mainstream. And even the white hats are deceiving people right now. Obviously, if he isn't dead, then he's alive and they need to protect him. So they're going out of their way to pretend, in my view, that he did die. Okay, if you understand it, because they don't want people to know he's in witness protection. Obviously, the dark side. You or me, we're not going to be the kind of people that are going to go tracking him down or his family and so on and so forth. But if you see the incongruencies between what some people are saying, what other people are saying, then you have to compare and contrast. And it's not that different between what you're involved in the sense that, there's a good version and there's a bad version, and there's a lot of room in between there for deception. So I think the name of the game right now on the planet is really deception and seeing through the lies. And so it behooves us to be on the game, to really be analyzing carefully everything you hear and see and questioning all of it. So just notes from me. And thank you again, Heather, for your lovely explanation of of wound treatment. I think is very valuable. I think there are a lot of people out there that will value that and also could benefit from your products. Your products have been on my front page. So most of my ads on my front page are down below, but if you click on them, you'll get the right thing. So be sure to send me any links. If there's a link that I don't have or I need a fresh banner, please make sure to send that to me as well.
Will do. Well, I do have the link that I texted you that
All
is
right.
the landing page so people can find the coupon codes
Okay.
to put in. So we need to get that there.
Okay. So
And
I'll adjust the one I have at the moment on the front page. All right. So thank you everyone for watching and
thank you.
okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay.